Have you ever gone to a doctor's office and they took your blood pressure and your blood pressure was so high that they had to take it again? Have you ever sat there and wondered why you were breathing so heavily while you sit in the doctor's office? Well, maybe some of that's on purpose. Hey, this is Eric Brown, MOBO-Media, and I want to talk about something that we probably don't even think about a lot, and that's just the healthcare industry and just how it's marketed, how it looks, the feel. You know, I had a medical appointment the other day, and I sat in the waiting room, and it was just a follow-up appointment from my doctor. And I sat in the waiting room there, and I looked around, and I just thought about it. I'm like, you know, it feels like death in here. It doesn't feel like life. You know, there's even the colors. The colors were not conducive to healing or health. They had these drab, dead colors. It was dimly lit. You know, it's almost like they want you to come in feeling sick so they can send you away with a bottle of pills or send you away with less money than you came with. So I know they can do better. I know they can do better. I know a lot of y'all have been inside of hospitals and seen this. Everything is all white. It's there's no character to it. There's no personality to it. It almost like prepares you for death, basically. That's what it feels like. It feels like you're going through a portal between life and death. And it shouldn't be that way. Hospitals should be places where, it should be conducive, or it should be, laid out in a way that promotes health and promotes good nutrition and fitness and wellness. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't know about y'all. A lot of the hospitals I go to, a lot of clinics sometimes, you look around and you don't see anything about fresh fruits and vegetables or incorporating, healthy habits into your lifestyle. But what you'll find is marketing material for other medications, marketing material for other, medical procedures, these sorts of things. And so basically it's all about money, 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 money. Just go in the hospital, go in the hospital and look around and see how much of that is marketing towards your wallet. Again, I think that hospitals and healthcare facilities should be laid out in a way that promotes health and getting, healthier, not sicker. I can't stand it when I go into some of these facilities, man, just the look and feel of it. Just the feel of it makes you feel on edge because you don't know what the doctor's going to come back and say about your health, this sort of thing. And even the attitude of the folks at the healthcare facilities. I don't know about y'all, but it's changed. It's not like it used to be. Before, the folks in the healthcare industry, man, particularly those folks on front facing at the front desk, I'm sorry, y'all, but they were a little more compassionate before. Nowadays, it's just so cold and dry. What's your name? What's your last four? What's your insurance number? And, okay, wait, doctor, be with you then. And there's no, the interaction is just so dry. It's not conducive to you getting better. Instead of them saying, oh, hi, Mr. Brown. So how you feeling today, Mr. Brown? And, yada, 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 yada. They'll come in and just, the first thing they ask for is your insurance card. Sometimes that's all they ask for is your insurance card. And go have a seat. They may have you fill out a piece of paper, something like that. But I know they could do a better job, man. I know they could be a better job of it. A lot of times you're going, like I said, you're going to the hospital. The first thing they want to do is put a blood pressure cuff on you, take your blood pressure. Your blood pressure is so high. A lot of times, for me, sometimes the blood pressure is high from trying to make the damn appointment, getting in traffic and trying to make my way to the hospital. So by the time I get there, I'm still wound up, blood pressure elevated. But a lot of that has to do also with the environment in which they're taking the blood pressure. I'm looking around and all I see are medical devices. I'm hearing medical sounds. I look on the walls and I'm seeing, medications being marketed for respiratory issues. Over here, I'm seeing medications being marketed for skin disorders. And there's nothing that's, promoting health or wellness or helping me to get better or making me feel comfortable and more calm. So, of course, I'm going to be nervous when I go into the doctor's office and they put a blood pressure cuff on me. There's no other reason for me not to be nervous. By all accounts, I'm waiting on bad news, You don't see a lot of colors like you would, for example, in a daycare. Let's say for a child daycare facility, something like that. You see a lot of things that are conducive to healthy development of the child. You got a lot of colors and things like that. So the child is introduced to, newer visual things as far as colors and things like that. You'll have animals in the child care centers, on the walls painted, giraffes, elephants, things that are, promote education and promoting, knowing what this world is all about. But you go into a hospital, a medical facility. You don't see fresh fruit and vegetables on the walls. You don't see them promoting, obviously they're not going to promote alternative medicine. That's not There are no profits in that alternative medicine. You know what I'm saying? But man, you don't see anything that's conducive to getting healthy and staying healthy in hospitals or medical facilities. And I think they've been this way for a long time. And it bodes the question, or it makes me wonder, is all this on purpose? Is all this on purpose? Because you got to understand, a healthy you does not mean a healthy hospital. I mean, they much rather have you ill and sick coming through those doors. And don't get me wrong, I'm not knocking those people who have the true compassion and the true, moral compass to actually care for people and do no harm to people. But in general, the healthcare industry is all about money. It's all about money. Everybody knows that. They don't even want to pay out all the insurance. And if they do pay out insurance, they want to scrape every little nickel and dime out of it. I don't know a whole lot about Medicare, Medicaid, but I'm certainly going to do my homework on it. But I talked to family members about it. A good aunt, and she talked about how they squeeze every penny and dime out of your Medicaid that the state provides or whatever. These medical entities, they make sure that they can get everything that's available to them. And I think that's disgusting and sickening. I understand it's a business, don't get me wrong. But when you start putting profits over people, I think that's always a bad thing. But yeah, I know they can do better in hospitals, man. They could, do better, make you feel more comfortable in there. Put more smiling faces of people in there, you know what I'm saying? Instead of marketing, medication for skin disorders. Don't get me wrong. Some of the medication, things like that is needed. I'm not standing in the way of people having access to, the medical resources and the medical literature and things like that they need. What I'm saying is that the hospitals do it a little bit too much, and they do more of promoting things to help you heal than to actually heal you, if it makes sense. They'll promote medicines and things like that to help you heal, but they won't promote fresh fruits and vegetables or just a smiling face that makes you feel better to heal. It's just a simple thing. It's just a simple thing. The lighting, more pleasant lighting instead of this dark, drab, funeral home type damn lighting. To me, hospitals seem like it's almost like the way they have them set up. It's like it's a assembly line, you go from home, you go to the hospital, you go to the funeral home, you go to the cemetery, It shouldn't be that way. It should be, you go from home, you go to the hospital, and you go back home. They should have an environment set up to where the end goal is for you to go back home. Have some fresh flowers around. Have, floral arrangements around the hospital. Have colors on the walls. You know what I'm saying? Have smiling faces. Make sure your staff has smiling faces when they come out to greet you. Make sure they have good bedside manners when they're talking to you. Because I don't know about y'all, things have changed now. They don't really talk to you like you're a patient anymore. They talk to you like you're in an insurance number. And that's the honest to God's truth. They talk to you like you're in an insurance number. Like I said, the first thing they ask for is your insurance card. That's one of the first things they want to make sure you have. And on the way out the door, they often tell you to stop by the insurance desk to make sure, they've got that taken care of as far as getting the money that they're after in the first place. It ain't healthy people they're after money. And again, this is not a knock on those in the healthcare profession that go to work every day looking to make people feel better, looking to get people back in their homes. But again, there's a segment of healthcare corporate that would much rather see you sick. And you don't have to listen to me. Do your homework. Do your research. Look at how many more people are on medication now than there were 20 years ago. Look at how many more people are dealing with mental health issues than there were 20 years ago. Yeah, I get that, the people are really just a segment of society. They're an example of society. And if they are, then we're in trouble for this society because people walk around. I told my dad something the other day, and I'm gonna digress, but I'm gonna mention something to you that it just hit me. I was talking to him, and I was talking about the healthcare industry and also the credit industry. As far as debt and how Americans view that. And I told him it seems like in America they want you sick and in debt. In America, they want you sick and in debt. Those are the two things that make people money. You being sick and you being in debt. I got out of the military years ago, and I tell you, I had a hard time just getting a vehicle because I spent a lot of time overseas, so I didn't have a lot of credit history. But the crazy thing is, because I didn't have credit history, people tended not to trust me. And I get that. But they would trust a person with a lot of debt more than they'll trust a person with no debt, which is kind of ass backwards to me. But that's the world we live in. They much rather have you sick and in debt. You know, the hospitals want to make money off of you when you're sick, and the financial industries out there want to make money off of you when you have money. So that's one thing to be mindful of. But again, hospitals, y'all can do better. Healthcare facilities, y'all can do better. Sometimes I think y'all have those facilities set up the way they do because y'all want people sick, because y'all want people to return. You should have those facilities set up to where people coming through those doors, the end goal is for them to go back out the same doors they came in and never come back in them again. I'm not talking about at the funeral home. I'm talking about in your home. The end goal is to get you back home, you know, not to get you back into the hospital. But that's the world we live in. That's big corporate, big pharma, big hospital, whatever you want to call it. It's disgusting. Some of it's immoral. I get the whole business play. I get this whole thing about America and the capitalist. I get all that. But what about people? What about having just, you know, core compassion for people at these facilities? Instead of trying to suck them dry of their funds, how about trying to put life back into people? Because that's not what they're doing right now. They don't want to put life back into you. They want to take life out of you, because taking life out of you is more valuable than putting life back into you. You know what I'm saying? And don't get me started on the putting life back into you, because that goes right into alternative medicines. I did another video while talking about big pharma and healthcare community. Please go and look at those videos. And it's not based on hearsay. I've worked in the healthcare industry. I've worked military medicine, Air Force medicine. I've worked kind of with the healthcare folks on the outside of military. And so I come with receipts. And I know what I see when I go to my own medical appointments. I don't see anything that's conducive to life. I see things that are conducive to death. They don't even have pleasant music playing in some of these things. What you hear is dead silence, and you're hearing other people's pain and other people's agony, and people are waiting to see if, you know, the doctor says they come back, waiting to see the doctor come back and says they're positive for this, that, and the other. And that's a horrible feeling, to be sitting in silence like that. And they wonder why you go back and your blood pressure's high, or wonder why you just can't seem to get better. Because the place you're supposed to get better at it's not conducive to you getting better. They don't want you to not come back. They want you to be a return customer. With that, this is Eric Brown, MOBO-Media. I can go all day long with this. Do your homework. Open your eyes. Next time you go to the hospital or you go to the doctor's office, just look around. Look around and see what's in there that's conducive to life. See what's in there that's conducive to you really healing and getting better. And look at the marketing material all around you in those hospitals and those clinics. Just look at it. Just look at it. All the new drugs and stuff they're trying to push. But I don't see anybody educating folks on the different types of fruits, fresh fruits and vegetables that they could be ingesting that could definitely take the place of those nasty and toxic medications. So with that, I'm going to always promote healthy living. That's my 2 cents. Open your eyes so that you can close your wallets. Y'all take care. Eric Brown, MOBO-Media. Bye-bye.